My name is Richard Thompson, a 62-year-old widower living in a quiet English town. I always believed I knew everything about my only son, Daniel. I raised him alone after his mother passed away when he was just 12. Our bond was strong, or at least I thought it was. But the night I returned to his house only because I'd forgotten my phone, I discovered a truth I never imagined. The visit. It was a chilly Sunday afternoon. I went to visit Daniel and his husband, Michael, as I often did. They had been married for 5 years and lived in a small brick house on Rosewood Lane, warm, cozy, and usually filled with laughter. But that day felt different. Michael greeted me politely, but something about his smile was off, too forced. Daniel hugged me, but even that felt heavy, like he was carrying something he couldn't put down. "Just tired, Dad," he said, brushing it off. We ate dinner together. They asked about my garden, my old fishing hobby, my weekly book club, but every time I asked about them, the answers were short, vague. Something was wrong. Still, I didn't push. Adults have their own storms. I left around 8 p.m. It wasn't until I reached home, took off my coat and reached for my phone that I realized it wasn't in my pocket. Oh, great. Must have left it on the sofa, I sighed. I didn't want to disturb them by calling, so I simply drove back to their house to quietly retrieve it. But that decision changed everything. The conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. I parked outside their house. The lights were still on. I walked toward the door, about to ring the bell, when I heard voices. Arguing. Michael's voice, tense and emotional. "Daniel, you need to tell your father. He deserves to know." I froze, my hand stopped midair. Daniel's voice came next, tired, broken. "How am I supposed to tell him? He already worries too much. He'll blame himself." Blame myself? For what? Michael took a shaky breath. "We're 2 months behind on the mortgage. The bank sent another notice today. We're not stable, Daniel. We can't keep pretending everything's fine." My heartbeat grew louder. "Mortgage, late payments. What was happening?" Daniel replied. "I've been applying everywhere, Michael. But after the layoffs, it's been impossible. And I can't take any job. I need something that actually pays the bills." I felt my stomach drop. My son had lost his job, and hadn't told me. Michael's voice softened, but it trembled. "You can't keep carrying this alone. Your father loves you. He'd want to help." Daniel let out a bitter laugh. "Exactly. I don't want him helping. He's already done enough for me. He worked 2 jobs after Mom died just to keep us afloat. I can't go to him now and say, 'Dad, I messed everything up.' I can't do that to him." My eyes filled with tears. My grown son, drowning in silence, because he didn't want to burden me. I couldn't listen anymore. I walk inside. I rang the bell. Instant silence. The door opened. Daniel stood there, eyes wide, face pale. Michael hovered behind him, looking nervous. "Dad, everything okay?" Daniel asked. I held up a small smile. "I think I left my phone here." He nodded quickly. "Yes, come in." I picked up my phone from the sofa. Then I turned to them. "Boys," I said gently, "is there something you want to tell me?" Daniel's lips parted, but nothing came out. So I said it for him. "I heard you." Michael lowered his head. Daniel's face crumpled like years of pressure finally cracked. "Dad, I didn't want to worry you," he whispered. I stepped forward, put my hands on his shoulders, and said, "You don't protect me by hiding your pain. You only hurt yourself." And then my son, my strong, grown, always brave son, broke. Tears streamed down his face as he leaned into me like he hadn't done in decades. Michael wiped his eyes. I pulled them both into a hug. "We face this together," I said firmly. "Always." The truth comes out. We sat together at the dining table. They told me everything. Daniel's company had downsized unexpectedly. He was laid off. He'd been applying for jobs nonstop for 3 months. Michael was doing overtime, picking up extra shifts at the community center, but it wasn't enough. They were behind on payments. They were barely eating properly. And all this time, they smiled in front of me, pretending life was normal because they didn't want to worry the man who had already sacrificed his whole life raising Daniel. My heart broke, not because things were bad, but because my son thought he had to hide from me. We make a plan. The next morning, I went with them to the bank. We discussed the situation with the manager, arranged an extension, and I paid the overdue amount to put them back on their feet. Then we came up with a family plan. Daniel would widen his job search to other cities. I would help with bills temporarily. Michael and I would start a small local woodworking and craft shop. His hobby, to bring extra income, we would have weekly check-ins to monitor progress. Within 2 months, things turned around. Daniel received a job offer, better pay and better stability than before. Michael's handmade furniture pieces began selling online. The financial stress slowly faded. But something else changed too. Our relationship became stronger than ever. A new chapter. One evening, Daniel and I were sitting in their backyard drinking tea. The sun was setting behind the hills. He turned to me and said quietly, "Dad, I'm glad you came back that night." I chuckled softly. "Because of my old forgetful brain, you mean?" "No," he said. "Because I needed you, even if I didn't admit it." I placed my hand on his shoulder. "And I'll always be there, whether you ask or not." He smiled, eyes shining, not with fear this time, but with relief. Sometimes life makes a father forget his phone, so he can remember his purpose.